For all that is said about City's threats and Haaland and Grealish and Foden and Rodri or whatever, they also do the unsexy side of the game well, don't they? They do the physical side well. They win every tackle, they win every race, they win every header. Do you have to at least match that?
Try to, yeah. Yeah, it was a conversation that I had with the group in my at my last club when they played Bayern Munich. I talked at length. Did you watch the Man City Bayern Munich game? There was not many that watched it, which I thought told the story. And then I talked about, did you see them playing in their positions? That Jack Grealish played wide left. Sometimes the game breaks up and it takes him inside. And Bernardo Silva played wide right. And did you see the centre forward when he went clean through and he scored 1,000 goals in about 3 years? And everybody in the world thought he'd just put his foot through it, and he turned his foot on it to Bernardo Silva, who had the easier option of scoring and a team player. And then in the next moment, in the next clip, he's back on the edge of his box defending. So these players, and I know through certain people at Man City, their standards that they set, you see it, you watch it, you can feel it, and you hear it through people I know. There's an obvious connection that talks at great length and great feeling and sort of enthusiasm in terms of how they roll as a group as well. And I think that shines through. And I've always said that, don't take away the technical brilliance, tactical, how they change their game. They do the basics better than anybody else, and the reason that they are in the position that they are, and the manager is in the position that he is, and quite rightly so.
Are you planning to speak to Kyle again, try and smuggle it back on that coach?
Try and get him back. No, he was. I've got to say, we talk as my pals. When we talk in football, I've got to say, I don't think I'm being controversial. I think by far the best player ever to come out of this city now in what he's achieved. And there's been some good players that have represented United on Wednesday and represented other clubs as well, that were born and raised in the city. But Kyle Walker, for me, is the best player, best footballer since time that's come out of Sheffield, and obviously we can take a small part in his development early on.
Definitely. I want to ask about, obviously, in recent weeks there's been the game at Chelsea away, there's been the game at Villa away, and obviously this time when you will give up the ball, understandably, because you can't go toe-to-toe with the players they have. What sort of toil does that take on the players, both physically and mentally as well, when you have to stay so switched on all the time? Does that take a big kind of...
Absolutely. You switch off, you get punished. We switched off for 5 or 10 minutes at Chelsea, and all of a sudden the ball's in the back of the net. We get to a stage of the game at Villa Park. We were outstanding. We felt that, especially the last 15, 20 minutes of the game. We grew into the game, and we were pretty even in that period going into the last sort of 15 minutes. And I think that was the work that obviously we'd done leading up to that moment, and we did. We switched off, and you switch off from a throw on Boxing Day. And any club in the division can hurt you, but especially the big boys, they put you to bed. And so, from a mentality point of view, from a concentration level, you've got to be at it right the way through. You've got to be prepared to be down in the game as well. And what's your reaction to that? So, that's not being negative or defeatist. You just understand that the challenge ahead.
Yeah, something you touched on there about how you will have to suffer, but it's a great word to use.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy that almost.
Yeah.
It sounds to us like the worst thing that you could possibly do. How do you sort of get the players into that mentality where they enjoy that suffering against these sort of players? How do you get
because they're walking out to 50,000 supporters and 3,000 United fans behind the goal that we're desperately wanting them to do well, and you're playing at the ice level of world football. On a domestic stage, so you have to, of course you have to get the balance right, and you have to go through the pain barrier, and of course you have to, you take yourself out of the comfort zone, but they could quite easily go and play football and really enjoy it and be the best player on the pitch, but it's possibly about 4 levels below what there is. But obviously that level is not where these boys want to be. You know, keep saying it, at any sport, you know, Matt Fitzpatrick can go up to Alanshire and win the medal, win the Thursday fiddle every time, but he don't want to. He wants to go and play in the Ryder Cup and be the best in the world. So it's all different, you know, sort of different levels, and these players should. They've got to this level, they've got to enjoy it, and they've got to be able to take on the best. And if they don't come out, they come out positively in terms of the way they played individually and as a team, and they learn through that experience to be better next time.
How's young Ollie Arblaster? Obviously had that quite nasty injury. Have you spoken to him since? How's
I went to the game. So I went to the Port Vale game. They were delighted with him in terms of his contribution. He's back with us now. He's getting treatment with us. It was a deep and nasty cut to his knee. Thankfully, when from where we were sat, me and Jack were sat, it looked a lot more serious than what it was. So we're delighted that it isn't, but. He's going to be out for a few weeks, but he can do other bits and pieces, and he's in around the group as well now. So we're delighted to have him back.
Just to clarify, is there a break in his load?
Yeah, there is. He'll be coming back. Yeah, that's a decision that we've made. So Port Vale not understand that. So I think he comes back on the 2nd, but obviously he's going to be out he's going to possibly be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So we'll see him maybe end of January.
Okay, just give us an insight into why you made that decision. What have you seen, just in your words? What have you seen? I
think he's, you know, I've watched him. He's a local boy. He loves the football club. We love that. You know, supporters love that. Not that it has to be all and end all. There's other boys that have not supported Sheffield United that give their everything for the football club. But you know, he's obviously ticked the box of playing in League One. We could put him out into the Championship, I suppose. So that was the decision that we made. We feel he's better with us. You know, there was decisions with Illiman regarding that. There was decisions with David Brooks at the time that we could have put him out, but we wanted him in the group and learning in terms of what our demands are as a coaching staff and as a manager, and getting used to that, but still pushing to get in. You know, he's a confident boy. He's technically very good. You know, he sees a pass. He's got great abilities. He's dominating in when he goes and plays internationally, which is a really good attribute, and really good from his point of view and his confidence levels. And we feel that, you know, he'll be better in with us for the remaining, you know, four months of the season.
Yeah. Just on January, I think you mentioned to Gids as a meeting this afternoon. I was going to ask, do you have the clarity about what's happening in January? Is that something that will come hopefully later today?
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing. So, you know, I'll accept every sort of situation, and we'll do our best with the decisions that are made. So absolutely no problem. We've worked hard on a few targets to come in. We're working hard on moving a few players on as well, because I think that's important as well, that we don't have a bloated squad and players that are surplus to requirements that we feel that they're not going to be involved. It's important that, you know, they go and play football and get themselves back in the shop window as well. So it's a balancing act with players coming in and going out.
Yeah, I was going to ask on that. Have you had those? You said before you're going to sort of wheel and deal in this transfer window. Have you had those conversations with those players who you might be letting out? Do they know that you're planning that?
Well, they will do. I think we set a deadline of obviously the game on Saturday. So, but the conversations will be pretty quick after that. Obviously, there's an FA Cup tie the week after, and our next game is the 21st. So it's a decent break there as well. But you know, we'll make swift decisions. We'll make positive decisions to benefit the group.
Yeah. Just finally from me, I know every manager goes into the window to sign players who can improve the group talent-wise. But how important is it also to get players in who have been unaffected by what's happened this season, they're sort of unscarred by that experience so far?
Yeah, but I've got players now that, you know, they've had to deal with it. Yeah. They've had to deal with the situation, and they're showing good qualities. You know, Trusty and Brooks. Young Brooks, he's possibly not had as much exposure. But others have had Jack Robinson. They know they're pros. They know that it's been a difficult first part of the season, but I've got to say there's been improvement. Statistically, there's been improvement in the team. Yeah. The goalkeeper's not making as many saves as he did. Whatever you want to talk about from a statistics point of view, and I would say from my point of view, watching the team, I do think there's been a little bit of a lift. The key is now is to keep that going. As I said, delighted second half. We've had 21 shots on Boxing Day. That should be enough. Should be enough to win a game of football. Tighten up on certain other bits and pieces, but you can't feel sorry for yourself in this game, and you can't feel sorry for yourself when you're playing in the Premier League. So the unscarred bit, that doesn't really. I want players that want to come, want to be part of it, and want to make a difference. And we believe if we do bring them in, that they will be.
Thank you.
Cheers, Dan.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Just in terms of next month, ideally, how many lads would you like to bring in, and how many do you see potentially going out? And what specific positions are you looking to strengthen in?
Yeah, I'm not going to open it up. There'll be it won't be sort of a wrecking ball in terms of 6, 7, and 8. It's a difficult window as it is. There'll be possibly 2 or 3 coming out and 2 or 3 going in if we do make those decisions.
And obviously, you came back for Liverpool at home, another massive game with a sense of occasion. Is this the sort of reason that you were tempted back to come to Sheffield United? This sort of big game?
I'd have been tempted back if they were in the 4th division. It's my football club. There's a reason to come back and help and try and make a difference and help the club, getting sort of out of this position. So, but obviously it makes it, of course it makes it special when you're playing at the highest level. But as soon as the club made that call to me, it was never in doubt that I wanted to come back and try and help.
Just in terms of how good this City side are, Chris, where would you rank them in terms of the all-time great British English football teams?
Well, they've got 5 trophies. That's an incredible achievement. At the most 5, isn't it? I think, or 4, 5. So you don't get handed those for whatever they do, whatever competition they're in. I just think the attitude is an incredible attitude that everybody's got from the playing staff to through from the manager that obviously sort of sets that incredible example. It's the old Liverpool of the 80s, the Man United, Liverpool under Paisley, and they go again. They put the medals in the drawer and they're off and at it again. It's the Man Uniteds again. We're not talking about what happened last year. We're not resting on that. And it's the same in Man City. And when you go through your different decades and your different years in terms of who the top sides are, they've got to be ranked right up there, if not the best.
Yeah, I think your predecessor Paul Heckingbottom said when the Blades last played them that what Guardiola's done is he's actually changed English football, the way it's played, playing out from the back and that philosophy of keeping the ball. Do you think he goes that deep in terms of his impact on our game in this country?
Yeah, he's had a huge effect on it. You look at the academies now, and there's all different ways to play, and there's not a right way and not a wrong way, and there's all different things that you have to build into that, resources, and they've had the ability to go and get technically the best players in the world. But still, it's not getting the best players in the world and just chucking them out there and expecting them to go and do the business. They're coached, they're tactically coached, and then they evolve and they move and. John Stones coming inside as a centre half and playing as a 2, building in a 3, playing as a 2, playing 5 at the top of the pitch. They've evolved and all, and they're looking for the next improvement tactically as well as the next improvement in terms of making their squad bigger and stronger.
I think Guardiola said before last night's game, as much as you win, they want you to fail more than ever. There is this sort of sense of criticism, maybe jealousy about Man City and the riches and everything that Pep's got at his disposal. Do you think they get enough credit? Do you think he gets enough credit for what he's achieved? And where do you see them going forward, having come back from Saudi Arabia now as World Club Champion, looking to retain the Premier League title?
He doesn't need anybody to rub his head. Simple as that. Cheers.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. One of the things that City have got under him, and you've touched on it there, is a real identity. Sheffield United had a real identity during your first spell here, and I'm not saying there isn't one there now, but is that something you're going to look to try and bring back?
Yeah,
as
we
well?
have to. We have to reset it a touch. I believe, not being too critical, but you know, everybody has their own ideas and their own different ways of going about it. But yeah, listen, that's for other people to talk about. You know what we did in 2016. But I think everybody has a look at Everton. They've got an identity. You know, and there's players that, you know, I'm sure you know, conversation I've had with Sean, that he looks back and goes, you know, some players that they maybe have brought into the football club have really not Everton players. So, you know, I think there's ways and means in talking about that as well. But every club has to have that, you know. And as I said, there's all different things that are put into that, from where the club is, what the supporters want, what they want to see, and everything that sort of marries up all the time to be at your best. And I think that this football club's been at its best through a long period of time, when it's doing what you've seen and what I've seen, without going too deep into it. And it can sometimes, and you know, it's difficult because it's the Premier League as well, and you sometimes you do make these little changes, and you're always trying to make little changes and little adjustments, and some work and some don't as a football club. But I think, you know, I think we all know what this football club at its best looks like, and we've got to try to get that, even if sometimes the results are not the results that we all want.
Yeah, I was going to say, because and the same goes for Everton, Man City, Arsenal, whoever. It's not to say that a player isn't a bad player, because they're obviously exceptional footballers, but they just might not be, and I've not got anyone in mind, but
no,
they just might not be quite right for a club. They might be absolutely perfect for another.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's, you know, you've looked at it, and you go on to Chelsea, you go, you know, Torres, who was an unbelievable success at Liverpool, who was loved and adored, and he was incredible, and then went to Chelsea. And go on, you could give me the background story on Torres. What do you think about him?
Yeah, in and out.
He's a £50 million player.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks, well, I'm spending £50 million on a centre forward, he's going to be a hit. But some don't, for one reason or the other. You know, and you know, your club have had a few of them, haven't they?
Yeah. Moving on anyway. Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah. There's players that really find a home and really settle in and go, this is me, and some don't at every club. Yeah. I think the key is you got to try and get as many in to fit the feel and the culture. I think the you know, culture. What did somebody once say? Culture eats strategy for breakfast and all stuff like that. So culture of football clubs is really important, and the feel of it and the attitude of it is really key. And of course every club has its own way. Cheers. All right, guys. See you later. Cheers.